Yes, people, we're back. Welcome back to the channel. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everyone that is listening. 12 Man's back. Rival Talk is back. We've got myself, we've got Dave, we've got Rich and Rich, both the Riches today. I thought we'd have both the Daves, but I realised that Dave is actually now in the Championship with Luton, bless him, and they got an absolute hammering last night from Leeds.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing all well, man. Big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everyone that's watching live. And make sure you go check out today's streams, myself and Rory, and Let's Talk Ball earlier on as well. Last night's Arsenal roundabout, Igal trying to take on people again. You know what Igal's like. So that was all good fun. So make sure you go and take a check out of that one. Dave, not too well, bro. Have Arsenal put you into a bit of a bad mood? Or was the hammering at the end not good enough for you?
Do you know what, Gavin? I think I must have caught something on Saturday. It was I got a bit wet, and it was obviously there was a feeling of bedragglement that kind of started, especially after that first 5 minutes, which is exactly what we didn't want. And I've been really not very well all week. I managed to get to the gym every day, so that's been all right. But I'm as croaky as a croaky thing, and if there's a major coughing fit that appears, then everybody can blame me heartily. But yeah, Saturday, there's not much to say really, other than that Arsenal were fantastic, mate. Really. Yeah,
we were good. I can't lie. We were really good. I wasn't expecting to be really good, but the last couple of games, mate, we've really turned it on, particularly the other night against Lisbon. I thought we were outstanding against Lisbon as well. Good. It's funny what a fit Martin Odegaard can do. Trust me, that boy is mustard. Big up to you, man. We'll get more into it. Rich, as in Suffolk Crunch, Rich. My goodness, Andre Onana has the only reason that Manchester United walked away with anything, in my opinion, was the goalkeeper, mate. How are you, bruv?
Yeah, I'm good. I was talking to Dave before we started, and I said if you haven't watched Town, if that was the first time on Super Sunday that you tuned in, I think we give a really good account of ourselves and showed everyone that I think we're quite a good football team. And the only real disappointment was, it was 3 years to the day that we'd lost to Rotherham. We'd played in League One, 2-0 at home. And then we're playing Man United, and you're coming out the ground and you're a bit disappointed that you didn't win. Because I think if you watch that game, I think we were the better team. We had the better chances. But it is a case of, I said to Dave before we started, we've only lost 5 in 12, Dan, but we've only won one game and we've drawn 6, and we've soon got to start turning them draws, especially at home. And then after Forest on Saturday, we've obviously got Rich's Palace on Tuesday night, and then Bournemouth. So we've got to be looking to get some wins on the board at home, definitely. But yeah, I was really pleased how we played. I thought we were really impressive.
So was I, mate. I really was impressed, and I really hope Ipswich stay up, man. I really do. Rich, Crystal Palace are not looking great down in 19th. However, you did pick up a point, man, and we are going to talk about it. But how are you feeling, mate? Because you've been down the last few weeks every time you've been on here, mate.
I have been, but it was a great point against Villa, considering our injury runs and circumstances. And like I've said to you before, minus the Villa game, that's the only game I think we deserve to lose. I'm not saying we deserve to win any of the other games, but we could have picked up a point whoever we played against. But you don't take your chances, you don't win games. That's as simple as it is. And if you defend poorly, you deserve to not pick a point. So we are where we are and deserve to be. So we'll see.
Look, there's a long way to go, but Crystal Palace definitely need to pick it up, in my opinion, if they do want to stay in this league and keep a run going together or become a little bit more consistent. But look, I've got no doubt that they can do that. They've certainly got some players. I'm going to start with Ipswich, though, because...
The crazy thing is, one win... That's how mad it is.
You said what? Say that again?
A win is up to 15. That's how crazy the league is.
It's crazily close, man. It's crazily close, man. It really is. And... I was speaking to Winner Surf earlier about Chelsea and saying, people are talking about Arsenal being the threat to Liverpool, but Chelsea are up there with us. Brighton are actually on the same points as Arsenal, which is mad, and Chelsea. And then, you kind of drop down to what's happening there in the mid-table area. It's just absolutely mad. It really is. And one win at the moment, boom, you go up about 6 places. It's some madness. It really is. So, yeah, man. But I really, really wanted Ipswich to make a good account of himself against Manchester United, and I think they did that, man. Ruben Amorim has got a big job to do on his hands. I thought Manchester United in parts were embarrassingly bad. Watching him try to play out from the back and try and build something was just Wow, I mean, he must have been sitting there thinking, "What the hell have I got to do with this lot? They are a mess." I mean, how much money they've spent on that team as well is £100 million of strikers, and they're like, Rashford will have to have a go because these two are crap. It's like, geez, they only spent £100 million and get it so badly wrong, and then play Rashford, your left winger, up front. I thought Man United were poor, but I will say this: I thought Ipswich made a really good account of themselves, and I'm just a massive fan of this Liam Delap kid. I think he's a monster. I think he's a proper good player, and I must say, I don't know if it was a bad miss or a great save, but if it wasn't for Onana, I think Ipswich win this. I've got to say that, and there's no doubt that he got player of the match. And then you go into this game against Forest now, Rich, with a little bit of perhaps confidence with the fact that Forest are obviously with 2 losses now against Newcastle and Arsenal. What's your thoughts on how you played against United and your confidence going into this game, Rich?
Yeah, getting back to Delap, I mean, it was great, wasn't it? When you see him, I think it was Agate, was it, down by the visitors, the corner flag, and he just, look, that's probably a booking all day long. And it was good. It was like really refreshing on Sunday. Anthony Taylor, no yellow cards in the game. He let the game flow. There was 2 or 3 times Garnacho went down really easily. Probably in other games he'd get a free kick, and he just basically told him to get up. And you think sometimes with referees, Dan, they set themselves up with a yellow card early on, and then they've got nowhere to go because from that point on, they have to book people because they've set the stall out. Whereas on Sunday, I think Morsey was a foul, could have been a yellow. He had a little talking to him, and that was probably why it was a good game because he let the game go. But yeah, getting back to Delap, I told you last week, didn't I? He's that old-fashioned centre forward. He don't mind leaving one on a defender. And it probably he should have been booked. I wouldn't have been unhappy if he'd have got a yellow there, but he's let him off. And he should have probably gone home at least 1 goal. The save at the time initially when you're live in the stadium, I thought where we sit, it's just hit the goalkeeper. When I see it at half time, I mean, it's a real strong hand in it. He's got it up. But the only thing he's probably done wrong there is lifted it and give the goalkeeper a chance. I think if he had that chance again, maybe he goes low and slides at either side. And I don't think, 8 yards out? I don't think the goalkeeper saves that. That's because he's giving him a bit of a chance. He's hit it well, and it's like any other time that's a goal. But yeah, get the performance. I mean, with the start that we made, you come out there, your team talks out the window within 90 seconds. Pretty poor goal from our point of view. I mean, Rashford, that was the only thing that he actually done in the whole game. I mean, it doesn't take a lot, Marcus, to actually run around and put a bit of effort in. He don't even do that, does he? He don't. And they've got 2 of the. But he cannot play that central midfield ever again. Eriksen and Casemiro, Dan. I mean, blimey, they made Sam Morsey look rapid. He was literally him and Kajust in the middle. They were all, especially in the first half, they were all over him. We didn't let them play out. We pressed well, and yeah, like I said, the only takeaway you've got going home is that you probably should have won that game, which I think that's a positive thing to say. I mean, second half, look, they come back in the game, but had a lot of the ball. Their build-up play was so slow. They didn't really threaten. I think they had a chance to start the second half. I think Garnacho, and then he's obviously he's going to make a lot of changes, Amarin, and he doesn't know what player fits in which position, I suppose, and he's going to try up to January. But it was interesting going to the game. I was listening on 5 Live to the build-up, and I didn't even know that we were there, Dan. I didn't know Ipswich were playing in the game, and the only thing there was a couple of little embarrassing things from my point of view. The Ed Sheeran walking in on the interview Sky makes us look a bit shit. I know he's come out and he's apologised and said, I didn't know they were live. Well, come on, Ed. You've done enough interviews and that to know when the lights are on, something's going on. So that was a bit poor. And also the guy having a guy, Roy Keane, Keane was a crap manager for us. He's admitted that himself. But when the fan shouts out to Jamie Redknapp, I think this is why he got the ump. Jamie asked Roy why he was such a shit Ipswich manager. He's not lying there, but just leave it, And he obviously has to have his say, doesn't he, Keano, because that's what he's like. But yeah, look, it was a positive day all round, and then we go to Forest Saturday. Like I was saying to Dave before, I think I've been there 8 or 9 times, boys, and I've never seen us win. But I think we go there full of confidence, and we really should. We shouldn't be frightened of Forest. Look, you have to respect who you're playing in this league. And Forest have got some really good players, and Nuno's done really well so far. I know you've got some tough fixtures coming up. You obviously lost your last 2, and then Forest fans will probably be looking at that game. The Ipswich game is the game that they're going to probably get 3 points when you've got the games after us. But I think we'll go. We give a good account of ourselves. And who knows on the day? Look, we went to Tottenham and we won, and we didn't really expect that. But we've got some big games coming up, like with Forest, and then we've got Palace and Bournemouth, the next two at home, then Wolves away. So, look, come Christmas time, when we got Newcastle before Christmas, we play you down on the 27th and then Chelsea. I think we'll be well in the mix come the transfer window, and I think we'll probably add another couple then. And it's concertining up a little bit down there, isn't it, at the minute? You know, when you look, and Everton, oh my God. I mean, if I was an Everton fan, I'd be bored out of my brains with Sean Dyche's football. I know that, look, they'll probably scrape enough points together to probably stay in this league. I know it's not probably going to be very exciting. And then I see, obviously, Ruud van Nistelrooy looks like he's going to go to Leicester, which I think that could go either way. You know, I think they're taking a big risk there. If it was me, I'd probably go down the Potter or the Moyes route, because you know what you're getting. And I know Van Nistelrooy done well in, 5 games? But come on, you played Leicester twice. You had a couple of games in the Europa League. You hardly played anyone there. So that's a big risk for me. Southampton look cut adrift already, like we were saying, Dave. They play quite good football. You know what you're getting with Southampton. And then at the end of the day, they lose the game, don't they? It don't matter how well they play. They don't get any points. So if we can just hang around now up to January, stay in that mix, I've seen enough now in the 12 games that I think we can stay in this division, but we do need to start winning games. You know, draws are all well and good, but getting us up to probably, realistically, I think we could be about another 4 or 5 points on. We could be near mid-table, but we're not. You know, that's just the facts at the minute. We've drawn 6 games. So, yeah, Saturday, tough game, but I think we can be positive, and I think we can take something from that game.
Look, I'm a big fan of what Ipswich are doing, and I know a lot of people are saying, "Yeah, you ain't got enough wins yet, you ain't safe yet." Look, you might go down. I don't know. I mean, the prediction is at the moment that you might struggle, but I just like watching you. I just think there's always a chance that Ipswich have got something. I know you mentioned Tottenham, but actually, even the games where you have dropped points or where last-minute goals were going in, you had a chance to win those games. And then when I look at Everton, I think I'd rather have a season ticket at Ipswich, because while Everton don't concede goals, it is absolutely woeful to watch. I mean, like, Brentford went down to 10 men and Everton just didn't look like scoring, you know. It's just like, this is poor, you know, for me. But look, maybe I'm biased because I like Ipswich, but I'll be more than happy to go and watch your games. And I thought against Manchester United, you really good account of yourselves. Like you say, Liam Delap, I think at the moment, the next England squad that gets announced, he needs to be in it. Like, he does. Like, let's just be real. I know that Harry Kane is top quality and Ollie Watkins has been in there and done it. But I'm taking at the moment Delap over Solanke. I am. I think Delap offers us a lot more in terms of his all-round play than Solanke does, because Solanke's just another Watkins, let's be real. So that's what I would be doing. I'll be bringing Delap. I think he deserves it. I don't know what more he has to do, really, to get a knock on the door.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd agree with it. Look, if you watch, I'm not a massive fan of Danny Murphy, but he basically said that on Sunday night at Match of the Day. He sort of said he's the long-term successor to Kane, and he's probably the best young English striker. And I think I'm not saying, Dan, that he should be playing for England now, but I think he should be in and around that squad, you know, because, look, Harry Kane's not going to go on forever. And it's good. It'd be a good chance for me to go to them training camps, work with Harry Kane, you know, look at him, soak it up like a sponge, you know. And I said last week, didn't I, in here, they asked McKenna today at the press conference about buyback clause for Man City. He sort of batted it away a little bit. He said he didn't think there was one. But I'd be really surprised if, I said last week, whatever league we're in next season, if Delap's at Town, we're obviously still in the Premier League. But I even think then that what he's doing at the minute, I mean, he's got 6 goals in 12. And he's always a threat. He's always a threat. I think you see the best of him, that bit of skill in the second half when he takes it away from a couple of defenders, turns, pops it out to Wes Burns. He continues that run and he has the little back heel where Onana saves it. I mean, look, his all-round play is excellent. And I think at the minute, he's at the best place under McKenna because he knows he's going to play every week. You know, if he went to, say, a Chelsea or someone else, he probably wouldn't play every week. And at the minute, it's got to benefit a young player just to be playing every week. And he's going to have a big weight on his shoulders now because George Hurst is injured. He's out till the new year with his knee. And I don't know if you see the sub we had come on, Dan, Ali Al-Hamadi. He was playing last season He was playing for. This is the difference that the bench that Man United had that they were bringing players on, Shaw, Mason Mount, you know, all them players, and we've got Ali Al Hamadi, who's playing in League Two for AFC Wimbledon. You've got Jack Taylor, who come from Peterborough. So it's a case of, at the minute, you've got to be a bit lucky with injuries. And if the lap did pick up an injury between now and January, we'd really struggle because we haven't really got a replacement at the minute. So you just got to keep your fingers crossed that he stays injury free. If it was me, I wouldn't be saying to him, train a lot in the week, just keep ticking over, you know, maybe on a Thursday or a Friday, come in and do a little bit of work with the team. But he is key to how we play, because at the minute we haven't got another replacement, natural replacement for him. And yeah, look, I think he'd fit lovely in that Man United team, wouldn't he? If you see like you were saying, the money that they've spent on players up front, I mean, he could easily play for them at the minute. He could. That's no joke.
I think I could, Rich.
You'd run around, wouldn't you? You'd run around. We'd all run around.
I don't know what Rashford does up top.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that now.
Exactly.
Oh,
he's doing this when he scored.
You know what I was saying?
I wonder what he's supposed to be doing. Where am I supposed to be?
What I'll say to you, though, Rich, just speaking from experience, maybe you don't want the hype around that right now.
Yeah.
Because that call-up could end up being an injury, or like, don't get me wrong, listen, we're rivals right now. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to give you too much nuggets, but I've seen it with Adam Wharton. You know, he went to England with the Euros and they got injured. He's not been the same all season. You know, so
is he fit now, Rich? Is he fit yet, Wharton?
I think he would be back for your game.
Oh, what a shame.
Most likely, I don't think he'll start though. I don't think he'll start.
Good play.
Most likely be ready for City. I don't think he will start against you lot, but I know he's training. Eze's back this weekend, which is a massive plus. But what I mean is, like, I'm always an advocate for, because I think teams like us, Forest, our English players get overlooked by England a lot.
100%.
You know, but now I don't care anymore. I honestly don't, because it always seems to be an injury around the corner and stuff. So I think you're right. He should take Solanke's place. But then I think for a selfish Ipswich point, maybe you don't want him to be in the England line.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a fair point.
Trust me, I don't want any of the Arsenal players getting called up anymore. They just keep coming back injured. So hopefully, you know what? That Palmer or Saka debate, Palmer's much better. Play Palmer. Leave Saka alone. Ødegaard, you know, Norway don't need him. They've got Haaland. Leave Ødegaard at home. Do you know what I mean? I hate it. I absolutely hate international breaks. We've got, like, you know, some of the lower division clubs are like, oh, I hope he gets an England call up. And I'm like, yeah, get him instead of Saka. Leave Saka at home. I hate it, where some people love it. You know, it's good for them, don't get me wrong. But when you're going for a league or something, we've had Ødegaard come back injured, Saka come back injured, Trossard come back injured, Rice come back injured. It's like, nah, I don't want all this. Just leave them playing for Arsenal, man. Club over country every single day of the week. But there we go. Right. Let's talk to you, Dave, because obviously off the back of Forest beating Forest, it was a game where I kind of, as I said to you in the previews, I expected a draw, but that was more because of how Arsenal were playing. I thought we were electric. I thought we turned up, and I thought we destroyed and dominated in the first half. Second half, I think the Ethan Waneri substitution was a joy, if I'm honest with you. Yeah. I thought he was beautiful to watch. And I think Nuno was really good after the game, actually, because he didn't make any excuses. He just sort of said, look, it's going to have to be on to the next one. They were too good today, and we move on. And kind of respect it when managers say that, because there's so many times you lose games and you hear the referee was awful or they were really dirty playing against us. I didn't like that style of play they played. I thought he was quite grown up about it, to be honest, and he moved. And I think the way that Arsenal then went on to destroy Sporting Lisbon away probably made Forest fans think, fair play, they're just really good at the moment. And sometimes Arsenal are like that, you know, we'll go and do that against Bournemouth and lose, and then we'll go and destroy Forest at home. Whereas really, I would have thought, yeah, Bournemouth's quite comfortable. Forest's going to be hard. It's just Arsenal all over, you know. So I don't know what confidence that does to yourself in terms of Forest. I know that it's 2 L's, but really you haven't played horrendously bad in either of them. So do you kind of feel like, you know, you can get rid of it in Ipswich and get a win?
Well, to be honest with you, Dan, I think everything you said about that game on Saturday is absolutely correct. It was going there, I was kind of thinking, please, Arsenal, please don't let Arsenal sort of get off to a quick start. They had a chance that was cleared away early on, and then Timber had a goal disallowed very early on. And from that point onwards, the die was cast and everything was set in stone. And our lads just couldn't get a foothold at all. And I think the vast majority who watched it, from our population, just saw a better team, a title contender asserting itself over a team sort of yearning and striving to be a mid-table established Premier League team. And I think there was a bit of a meltdown, but I think that's because people have taken far too literally the position we put ourselves into with our really excellent, unexpected start to the season. I think what's been really good about the Newcastle and Arsenal games is not the defeats. You don't want to lose, and you don't want to concede 6 goals in the meantime. But I think it's bringing about a welcome realignment of expectations all the way through it. I was like, give me 17, and I ain't changing. And I can't be accused of being deluded, Dave, can I? I can't be accused of being extremely arrogant to think. I mean, I heard, when we were third in the table and Chris and Nuno were getting their monthly awards, which, to be fair, to that point, our lads were wonderful and those guys deserved it. And I was so proud of them. I'm still proud of them. There's no disgrace in losing to Newcastle United and Arsenal. They're both better teams than we are, bigger clubs than we are. And, it would have been nice to compete more, certainly at Arsenal. But, I think the vast majority was sort of coming out thinking, well, we've been beaten by a better team. And we're like, these are, at the start of the season, they were like Arsenal was seen as the team to put the fear into Manchester City, where we were like, we stayed up last year by the skin of our teeth because Luton Town, Sheffield United and Burnley were really poor. So the gulf at that point was huge. We've closed the gulf a little bit, but the gulf was reopened on Saturday, and the better team played really, really well and won. And, we walk out and go, hey, some days you just say the other team was better. There's a bit of a meltdown, but maybe now we'll stop all this talk of Forest are going to be in the Champions League, Forest are going to do a Leicester, Forest are going to get in Europe. No, I would like to finish 11th or 12th or 13th, and that's progress, So we'll see, but just want to be in the Premier League. Just stay in the Premier League. Doesn't matter how you do it. This is the thing for Rich. This is the thing for Rich. This is the thing for certain other clubs. Your Southamptons, your Leicesters, and your Wolveses, and whoever else, and your Evertons. So it was just one of those days. It was the better team, the bigger, more talented team asserted itself, played really, really well. I mean, we can all be partisan, and we can all my club's better than your club, which is just infantile nonsense, and I will not be doing that. And I love the game of football, and I love really, really good, talented footballers doing what they're good at. And I watched Martin Odegaard, and I was like, wow, this guy, he's been out injured for ages. He's come back as if he'd never been injured. He was sublime. Absolutely sublime. And just because he's wearing an Arsenal shirt doesn't mean I'm going to have my say. The other guy was better than my 11. Bukayo Saka gets booted uphill and down Dale. The lad's a role model, a wonderful young man, a superb footballer. I thought Mikel Merino on the quiet had a good game. Gabriel Jesus. It was interesting, the conversation I listened to, which was, Dan, it was Robbie and Lee. And they were saying, these guys need to step up. Well, they all did step up. Trossard looked sharp. Gabriel Jesus, I thought, was the best he played for a while. And Arsenal were on it. So, the thing is now, I mean, I did say a levelling off would come. And I kind of looked at it, at that run of fixtures that began with Newcastle, into Arsenal, into Ipswich, to City, to United, to Villa, which we're in the midst of now, and think it would come then. And thus far, I've been proved right. I'm not into I told you so, but the gradients to climb now are getting steeper. We had a relatively easy start of the season, and we took advantage of that. But I think this game on Saturday, and Rich and I have talked, and I've done a little piece for his channel, which is excellent, by the way, and everybody should follow it.
You made it onto TikTok, Dave. You're down with the kids.
Hey, you're on TikTok? What?
Yeah, I know, mate. I'm doing voiceovers and stuff.
Rich,
they're coughing. I'm doing cough mixture. Do you know what I'm doing, lads? I'm doing cough mixture and chest infection medicinal. So I'm the second aspect to make it onto TikTok after my little niece, who's as cool as a cucumber she's on, and now I'm on. If she finds out Uncle David's on, she'll probably like jump off it, embarrassment. You know what I mean? But I just think.
Hey, can I ask you quickly? Why was there backlash? Like, you've had a very good start to the season.
Because Rich, and I'm going to be a snob now. A lot of football fans deal in extremes of emotion and cannot find. Life isn't black or white. There are nuances and shades of grey, and there were a lot of people who just. It's almost like we're 7th in the Premier League, and there were people saying this is a disgrace. They didn't turn up. They want this, that, and the other, and they want to visit, violent retribution. And our lads, I thought our lads for the first time in the season, more so than against Newcastle, were outclassed, outthought, and looked a bit leggy, as if it was beginning to catch up with them a little bit. And Morgan wasn't there, Elliott wasn't there. I think they'd been nursing injuries. Woody had flown a long way. I'm not making excuses. These lads came and they would have tried their best, but we were just beaten by a better team. The backlash comes, Rich, from people who think that. If you want a classic example, Tottenham Hotspur. Now, I watched somebody saying that Tottenham Hotspur were coming to the big boys, and I'm thinking, well, that'd be the same Tottenham Hotspur that was so feeble, childish, and pathetic against Ipswich Town. I really wonder. I felt like saying,
and Palace. It's our only win.
Yeah. The thing is, though, Rich, I wanted to go on all the Tottenham websites, all the Tottenham YouTube channels, and just right underneath, the City win merely papers over the cracks at Tottenham, right, to see what they would do, because all of them over-exaggerate every reaction. It's childish nonsense. I mean, I'm 60. I'm a nerdy bookworm, right? I can't be seen doing that. So at the same time, the way I look at it is we just lost 2 on the bounce. We've lost 2 on the bounce to good teams. And, we're still 7th in the Premier League. Now, if somebody said to me on the 30th of November, you're heading into a game against this fresh, bright, pretty vibrant Ipswich Town, Dave, you'll be in the top half of the Premier League. If they'd said to me that, first of all, I said, what narcotics, what hallucinogens are you using? Because I would not have seen that. You know me, lads. Every year I come on this show and I get some stick from it. The likes of Wayneman in particular. They go, Dave's here again. Just give me 17. Because it's a fundamental base camp. And that starts me off. Moving on to this game on Saturday, too close to call. I said it on Richie's channel. I think what you've got 2 teams trending, all of a sudden trending in different directions. I think if the game had taken place a month ago, I think I wouldn't have been gung-ho because I'm never like that, but I think, Forest might just have a little bit too much for Ipswich. We lost 2. They've taken 4 points from Tottenham and Manchester United, which is to their extreme credit. And I think this game at the weekend is too close to call. It's interesting, we're talking about Delap, who I've got an immense amount of time for. I think he's a superb player. His dad was a good footballer, so he's been brought up right in the game. Roy Delap was his dad, Liam, obviously. What I think is that maybe there's a tactical thing there. What Newcastle did with Isak and what Arsenal did with Jesus, they didn't play a central attacking focus, which I think Murillo and Milenkovic would have preferred. Now, if Liam's going to come on Saturday and he's going to get himself involved with Murillo and Milenkovic, that might suit us a little bit better. But I just still think that in that Ipswich team, there's a nice seam of quality through it. Morsey is a really solid professional in the middle who holds it all together. Sam's been with Wigan and he's been in other.
He's unbelievable. That's unbelievable, Dave. When you say about Sam Morsey that he's 33 now and he's never played in the Premier League, and you think he was at Port Vale, he won't get in a game for Middlesbrough. We signed him on a free from Borough. Back in I think it was 21. No, it was 20. I think when Paul Cook was there. So for him now, he's obviously. People saying, look, is he coming to like the twilight of his career? I think if we stay in the Premier League, I think he'll be there next season. He's the captain. He's probably now, Matt Holland was probably of my era, probably the best captain that I'd seen. But I think now it's a big shout. I think Morty's eclipsed that with your back-to-back promotions. And I think he's learning as well because he loves a yellow card. and he's on 4, and he's been on 4 for about the last 5 games, and he's learning now. Obviously, this is the first season he's played with VAR, you know, and you can't get away with them little things you can in the Championship, boys, where you leave one in, you leave your foot in, and there was a few times where he was probably lucky in games that he didn't get a red card. But you can't do that in the Premier League. And if you go down to 10 men like we have against Brentford and against Leicester, it's really bitterness. And you've got to use that experience now and think, right, I don't think he made one foul Sunday. Sometimes there last season in the Championship, he's making 5 or 6 fouls. And you can't do that in the Premier League. You've got to lose your head. And he's really learned. And I think it'd be interesting to see sort of going forward. Obviously, we're coming into quite a busy period, aren't we? Really, and like you were saying there, Dave, about Forest looking leggy, and we haven't got the biggest squad at the minute, and we've got some injuries. You know, we need to be lucky, and we need to get some of them people like Calvin Phillips. I don't know if he's going to be involved on Saturday. You need them people.
Rich, on Calvin Phillips, I've seen Calvin Phillips twice at the City Ground. Once for Leeds United on a New Year's Day, and once for West Ham United, I think last season. And he's been sent off on both occasions, mate. Red card at the City
Well, let's hope maybe he's not fit on Saturday then. He can come back Tuesday against Palace.
But I tell you what, it's what you say about Sam Rich. It's a great story.
Against us all day, every day. I'm sorry. He's terrible.
I like Phillips and Rich, no?
No, I'm not a fan. Just quickly, sorry, Rich. Are there any other of your front 3 that may risk suspension against us, because that's more important?
I'm not. Say, I think Amari Hutchinson's got 4, Rich. But when would that say, if he got booked on Saturday, would that roll over to? It would be Tuesday. It wouldn't go to the next game on the next weekend. So he's got 4. He's got 4, and Morsey's got 4. They're both on 4 yellow cards. So.
Dave, you need to get Hudson-Odoi and Elanga just running towards the direction.
Allow me to look at my good friend who'll sort it out.
Please do.
Can I speak to Ryan Yates, please? It's Ryan Yates there. Yatesy, my man. Yeah, because I'm telling you, Morsey versus Yates will be a far, far better fight than that Paul or whatever his name was.
I'll tell you what, Dave. That Yates, that Dominguez likes a kick as well. I tell you, he likes it.
Yeah, I really like him. I don't think he didn't play very well at Arsenal, but then really none of them did. I thought Matt Sells was probably the one guy who could come away because he made some good saves, Sellsy. But yeah, Dominguez likes getting stuck in. And the thing was, it's all well and good getting stuck in, but if you can't get near the opponent, as was the case on Saturday, it's rather redundant. I just think this weekend, it just depends. If Ipswich want to come and make a battle of it, which I think Kieran will want his lads to sort of, be a physical presence. If Liam is drawn onto Moo and Nikola Milenkovic at the back, in our defence, and Morsey and Yates won it might just free up a little bit of space for Callum Hudson-Odoi. I'm not going to say Elanga because I have a feeling Elanga might not start. I think Jota Silva might start because little fella makes things happen when he comes on. But no, I think the weekend, a lot of the people who are short-sighted will be going, that was Arsenal, that was Newcastle. We'll beat Ipswich. Don't work like that. And I said to Rich, I mean, we were talking just before we started on here tonight, Dan, that I look at the Premier League at the moment, and I think there are 2 teams that you can pretty much say, well, you're going to consistently get that from them. One is Liverpool, because they're just kind of flying. Brilliant again last night. And Southampton, who are at the bottom and, they're probably not going to win. But I think the 18 in between, and I include City now in this, and I include Arsenal to a certain extent, all those 18 in Palace, Wolves, a classic example, Fulham, all of them, they can all throw in a diamond-encrusted jewel of a performance that takes your breath away, and then they can deliver you a battered ceramic plate with excrement piled up on it and a cherry on the top. All 18 of them are capable. Forest have been majestic in certain games and then excremental in others. Fulham, brilliant one week, get beat 4-1. Wolves, awful one week, brilliant the next. Where did the Cooney goals come from? And I look at it, and it's actually reflected in the mathematics, if you like, in that we've got this cluster of teams, 18 teams.
I'm working out now, Dave, why you couldn't send me that video and it was too long to send on email. Because it was. How long you recorded? You can only send 6 minutes on WhatsApp. How long actually was it?
I had a massive. What it was, Rich, I had a massive coughing fit after 5 minutes and 37 seconds, mate. You know what I mean? But honestly, again, weekend. Like, Potsy will ask me for a prediction at the end, but draw all day long as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely at the weekend. I think it's going to be a really good game because I don't know, the way Ipswich play might just suit us a little bit better, but then the way Forest play might suit Ipswich. I think it could be a ding dong. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, man, Rich, I know you don't have long, so before I come to Palace, what are you saying for this game? Do you think Ipswich can take 3 points here?
I kind of agree with Dave on it might be a draw. Look, I can. You're right what you say. It's in this league, you're not quite sure on any given day at the minute, and I think it could look. I know I'm probably talking rubbish. It could be one of 3 results. I mean, it's if you got a tenner, I don't know what you'd put it on, Dave. If I'm being honest, I know I'd be quite happy. I'd be quite happy with 1-1. I know I said earlier, Dan, about we need to start turning draws into wins, but I think that's more at home. More at home when you've got no disrespect to Palace and Bournemouth, and I'm not saying they're going to be easy games, but I mean, if we're looking to stay in this division, you're probably going to have to win. You're probably going to have to take 4 points, I think, out of them 2 home games, because sooner or later the games run out, and you might go through a sticky spell where you don't probably win for 6 or 7 games. So that's a key 2 games coming up. But yeah, ahead of Saturday, I'll be quite happy, Dan, if we did take a point. I think performance-wise, I think we've been really good from probably Brentford when we lost 4-3, Leicester at home when we should have probably won them. I moaned about last week about the penalty we should have got, and then the Phillips red card. So it's really positive how we're playing, and I think we're learning. I think we are really learning now, and you see that on Sunday in that second half against United, where I think maybe a little bit earlier in the season, I think we probably would have played quite well, Dan, and probably lost that game, because I think we might have pushed a few bodies forward, maybe left ourselves a little bit open, and then United might have nicked one. But I think we've learnt now that you've got to be a little bit more pragmatic in not certain games, but certain times in games. Like conceding that early goal on Sunday, it didn't really knock the wind out of our sails. If you look at the first half overall, if we'd have gone in at 1-0 down, I'd have still been quite happy, because the way that we'd played, and I know the goal that we scored from Hutchinson, it was a little bit of a deflection. It probably took it away from Annan. I think he probably would have saved it, but that's Amari all over, and he scored some goals like that last season, cutting in on his left foot there. He's another one that the last 2 games against Spurs away and United, he's really he's learning, and it was obviously his first goal, which was nice to see him get off the mark. And I think he'll be a threat to you on Saturday, Dave.
Leif Davis, Sammy Smodics. These are good lads. Smodics is a goal scorer wherever he's gone. Leif Davis, I think, is a really good player. The only worry I would have, and the Forest fans will note it, Rich, is Muric.
Oh, so I knew you were going to say him. I knew you were going to say him. There was fans saying, I don't know what you thought, Dan, quickly before I go, about the goal that United scored. I've got a few mates saying Muric should have come for that ball, and he is sort of waiting a little bit. I think they just got caught cold in. Yeah, I did. As a whole, the goal with Diallo down the wing there, I think Cajuste. It's one where you've got to slow him up. He gets by him, and then he tries to make the tackle. Right, you've either got to get the ball or you've got to take the man, and he didn't do either of them. And then it was just. Sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, look, I think it was probably a bit of quality that done us. But the reaction we showed, I thought was top draw. But yeah, I'll stick my neck on the line. I'll go 2-2. 2-2. I think it'll be. I agree with you, Dave. I think it'll be a back and forth game, and I'll be quite happy if I come out to City Ground about 5 o'clock on Saturday night with a point, looking ahead obviously to Palace and Bournemouth. Right, I've got to go. I'm off. See you next week, hopefully, Dan.
Rich, you're a legend, mate. Enjoy it. Have a good weekend. I'll see you next week, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Take care, mate. Bye, mate. Big up to Rich, Suffolk Crunch. Make sure you go follow him. Top bloke. Rich, Palace, 19th. Point. Eddie and Nketiah still not scored a goal. Sorry, I know I keep saying that. But my manager,
we won't let it lie, Rich.
my manager gave him the number 14 shirt and 100k a week. That was why, I raised my eyebrows at it, and that's why, because he's gone to Palace. We're in nearly December, and he's still not scored a goal. There we go.
We dodged the bullet.
There we go. But look, I mean, D and Lawless were going out yesterday on our little WhatsApp chat that we've got, talking about Eddie and Nketiah, and D said he's been good on the right hand side, but the way that they're playing isn't the way. Look, how are you playing at the moment? What is going on at Palace? Are you getting better? Are you starting to see improvements? I suppose is the question I've got.
You know what? There actually has been improvements since the Forest game. And even with that Forest game, I don't think we were terrible.
No. Agree with that, Rich.
Forest were just better. I have to admit it. Like, just all around, their fullbacks attacking, the centre backs, I don't think we caused them any problems. Everything was from distance. But our performance wasn't bad. Mine is a Dean Henderson mistake. We might have snuck out of there with a draw. Not saying we would have fully deserved a draw, but these are very key moments in games. Since then, the only game I think we've been terrible in is Fulham. That's the only game all season, I reckon. I looked at it, I was like, we didn't deserve anything from that game. And funny enough, Daniel Munoz had a chance to equalize. Mateta had one cleared off the line. Like, football's a mad game. It is a mad game. Against Villa, though, we were brilliant. You've got the players coming back from suspension or injuries. We decided to play on the break, and my gosh, we played that well. We played that very. Mateta was sensational. Sarr was a constant threat on the break, and I've just been saying lately on our channel, if that's how we have to play until the January transfer window, then so be it. You know, granted, we were playing a more aggressive pressing style with Glasner towards the back end of last season. Things just haven't gone our way this year. Let's just play counter-attacking football. And you know what? Newcastle United is the perfect team to play that football against this weekend. And I know it sounds mad, but I'm actually, for the first time this season, quietly confident.
Listen, I'm glad you're quietly confident. I don't think Palace will go down, and I think you will pick it up. And I don't think Glasner's a bad coach. I don't know that you've got the tools at the moment anyway, from what I'm seeing, to start heading up the table. But maybe I'm wrong. I need to start seeing more from some of the players. Having said that, I think when Eze finds form, Palace will start to lift up the table. I like Maxence Lacroix, and I think the partnership with him and Guehi will be a good partnership. I can't say his name, but I think your right back's quality. But I don't know how to say his name. What's his name?
Munoz.
Munoz. I don't know how to say his name. He's a good player. I like him. I think every time I see him, he actually looks really good, I think. Anyway, I don't know what you guys think of him, but I think he's a good player. And
anything from Joe Ward is a massive improvement.
Well, yeah, you've had Ward and Klein, so yeah, you've got to improve on that, I suppose, right? Up top for me is where I need to see it more, because Mateta was banging them in, man. He was absolutely balling out towards the back end of the season. Eddie Nketiah, we know we've bought him, right? You bought him, sorry, from us. He needs to improve. He needs to get better. He needs to bang up in front of goal.
Well, once again, I say this, not saying that I'm expecting miracles from him, but he's not an inside 10. He's not. And this is where, like I said, I've been saying time, our board has
playing with Mateta then. That's what I don't get.
See, this is how we kind of we played against Villa. Sarr played up top with Mateta. It was a 5-3-2. And like I said, we were brilliant. We were good. Once again, the problem for us was conceding really crappy goals. Now, every goal in football is avoidable to an extent. But like, you look at the Watkins goal, Lacroix shouldn't have pushed up on McGinn. He left too big of a gap. And then the second one's from a corner. You know, it's just like, ugh. But in the goals we scored, my gosh, what they well worked. Especially that Devaney goal. And I was so happy for the kid, by the way. You know, he's been thrown into this because of the injuries. The composure of a left-footed player playing on the right-hand side to whip that ball into the corner. Dean Henderson with a massive penalty save. You know, the fight is there. We just need to translate draws into wins. Because when you look at our points, we've picked up points against Spurs, Man United, Chelsea, Villa, and then gone and lost to, no disrespect, because we deserve to lose to Forest, Fulham, West Ham. I think we could have done better. Leicester, we drew again. Like, we're just inconsistent. You know, we could easily have another 5 points on the board, despite how crap we've been. But then on the flip side, we could say we could actually have the same amount of points as Southampton, based on how crap we've been. You know, so I'm sure we'll get it right at some point. I think our biggest mistake was not replacing Elise with a left-footed attacking 10, because that's killed Munoz's game. Munoz would overlap or underlap because Elise will cut in or go down the wing. Sarr is just a winger. So Munoz is kind of running into his space. Tyrick Mitchell on the left-hand side, very good defensively, not a good going forward. He can't cross. You know, so we've got to somehow get to January and not too far adrift. And hopefully, whether it's bringing Jez back, who's absolutely killing it in the Championship, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
You know, or get another that we're linked with Ryan Cherky again. Get him in if need be. Get him. He's only 21. Unbelievable talent from Leon.
He is, man. I'll be surprised if you can get him, man. I must say.
Yeah, I'll be surprised. But if we can do it, just get it done. You know, Matessa's found his form. It seems like his fitness is good. His link-up play against Villa was sensational. And Sarr, I think that goal's going to do him the world of good because he's missed too many chances. So
always liked him. I liked him, but Watford, Sarr, I saw him, believe it or not, when he played against Arsenal for Rennes. I thought he was quality. So he's a player, and you know he's a kind of Zaha replacement if you look at it long term. I know Elise you were looking at as well, trying to replace. I think Sarr and Eze, to be fair, need to get balling out. Mateta needs to find his form back. But look, man, to close the show, let's go through some predictions for this weekend's games. It's going to be a big weekend, actually. It actually starts tomorrow night with Brighton versus Southampton. What are you boys saying for this game? What are you saying, Dave?
Brighton 3-1.
Yeah, I've got to say, I was going to go for a 3-0 if I'm honest. I just think Southampton, I like what he's trying to do, but it's just like you're getting hammered and you're going to continue to get hammered.
Danny's suffering from company syndrome. He's too stubborn and he won't change.
I agree. That is a great comparison. That is a great comparison.
He doesn't change because we need as many teams staying down.
Do you know what's really upset me this week? In amongst all the blizzard of loathing and hatred and hostility towards Steve Cooper, and Steve's not been great at Leicester, and I can't argue with that, but Steve Cooper decided to change and kept Nottingham Forest up. Company is now at one of the biggest clubs in Europe, and that seems to have just been expunged from his record. He couldn't keep Burnley up. And Russell might just need to look and say, well, it isn't working. But I just think Brighton, if you offered me if Nottingham Forest didn't exist and I wanted to watch football every week, Brighton and Hove Albion's where I'm heading. They're a lovely bunch.
I agree.
But, Dave, I like you. Don't praise them too much, please.
Rich, I became aware of that as I said it. I'm sorry.
Let's move to Brentford, Leicester. I can see Brentford taking this one at home. I'm going to go 2-1 Brentford. I know Leicester have got no manager until Ruud van Nistelrooy properly comes. I'll go for a Brentford win 2-1. Rich, what are you telling me?
3-1 Brentford.
Okay, interesting. What are you saying, Dave?
I think Brentford win narrowly. The thing is with Leicester, you know, there's been lots of talk about the manager. It isn't a one man and one individual alone thing. Those players are still those players, and they're as culpable as the manager for the situation. They're employed by Leicester City to give their absolute utmost. And in some of the games, certainly the game against us, I felt that they should, at the end of the game, be reimbursing everybody of a Leicester City persuasion that went to watch that match. So Ruud van Nistelrooy is a very sexy name and all that business, but he's got a big job on. He's got a big job on. It's a rude name, actually, Rich, isn't it? You know what I mean? Brentford win that.
Yeah, Rich, we might as well do this one, seeing as it's Palace. What are you telling me? Palace, Newcastle, difficult game, but it's at Sellers Park.
Go on, Rich.
It is a difficult game, but I've heard they've got a lot of injuries. So 2-1 Palace.
Yeah, it is.
As long as we play on the break like we did against them. If we try to be open and expansive, we're going to get torn apart.
I think this one's a draw. I think Newcastle are hurt. I think it's a good time to play them. I'm going to go 1-1. What are you saying, Dave? Scoreline?
I agree with you, Dan. I think, I mean, the thing is, like Newcastle, they drive you bonkers. They were really good at our place. And then the other night against West Ham, they just were nowhere. You know, West Ham, fair play, deserved their win. I think it's got draw on it. It'd be interesting to see if Palace can do what Rich wants, sit there, soak up some punishment and hit on the counter. If they do, then they have a chance. I'm going draw for that 1-1. I'm with you there, mate.
Okay.
By the way.
I bet you would, to be fair. It's better. The Newcastle.
We need 4 points from the next 2 in any way it comes.
Yeah, no, fair play to you, bro. Fair play to you. Forest Ipswich, I know, Dave, you're giving your prediction on this one. I can see Forest winning this one 2-1. I think they're nicky at the City Ground. What are you telling me, Rich?
I'll go 3-1 Forest.
Okay.
We need. Do you know what, lads? I think you're a bit more confident. The only thing that gives me a bit of confidence is the fact that we need to react to bad performances. And sometimes when you've had bad performances, like Arsenal had taken 2 points from a possible 12, all of a sudden you get a line in the sand, and that line in the sand was Forest, and Arsenal have now scored 8 in 2 games. So I'm hoping that we get a reaction at the City Ground, but it's going to be a very difficult game, I think.
Interesting. Wolves will be interesting because Gary O'Neill is now the Wolves manager, and he's welcoming his old club Bournemouth to Molineux. I don't know what's going on at Bournemouth at the moment. It's a little bit of a strange one. I'm going to go Wolves to win. And I don't know why. I just think that it's got it written on it. I just think this one has a little bit of a script on it. And I think it's going to be 2-1 Wolves. What are you saying, Dave?
Do you know what? These two are utterly bonkers.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was saying about this sort of conglomerate of teams in the middle who can be astounding 1 minute and astoundingly awful the next, Bournemouth beat Arsenal and Manchester City deservedly, and then they lose their next 2. So if you like, Bournemouth are in a similar situation to Forest, and they're this really good start of the season, and then they pick up 2 defeats, so they've got some recovery to do. Wolves could be anything. I mean, this game, it could quite easily, Dan, be 4-1 to Wolves or 4-1 to Bournemouth, because, I do, having said that, there is a factor, though, I think has to come into this. And if I remember rightly, because I watched the always brilliant Back of the Net boys, I have a feeling Semenyo misses this game because he's picked up the requisite amount of bookings. If he doesn't play and Matheus Cunha plays, if Matheus Cunha plays anything like he did, and he was brilliant. I love that guy, Cunha. He seems a really good lad, and he's a brilliant player. I think Wolves win this one. I'm going to go 3-2. I think it'd be a really good game, but I think Wolves will nick it. And like you say, Dan, there's almost a sense that it's Gary O'Neill's time to just put one back over on.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's written in the script, but I could be wrong. This one could go either way. What are you telling me, Rich?
Semenyo missing is actually massive. Actually, he's been really good.
Yeah, it is, Rich.
I am going to say 2-1 Bournemouth, though. They tend to respond really well after a negative result, and I'm obviously hoping Wolves won't win any more games because.
Well, fair play to you, man. Fair play. West Ham, Arsenal. I'm hoping we win a convincing game here. I've gone 3-1 to Arsenal. I know West Ham have come off the back of a good winning at St James Park, which I think shocked everybody, to be fair. But I'm going to go 3-1. Rich, what are you saying for this game?
3-0 Arsenal.
3-0. Dave?
I think Arsenal win, but I think West Ham will get a fillip from what they did. From what they did at St James's Park. I mean, West Ham on the quiet were really, really good. I thought. I watched Lister Lawless, and I saw him and Big Jace enjoying it, and I thought West Ham were slightly revelatory. I thought they managed the game really well. They dealt with Newcastle's attacking threat really well, and I think they'll give Arsenal. I think it'd be West Ham 1, Arsenal 2. I think Arsenal win it, but I think they may have to work a little bit harder than they did against us and against Sporting.
Okay. Chelsea Villa at the Bridge. I fancy Chelsea here. I've got to say, I think this could be a really good game, though. I think it could be some goals in it. So I'm going to go 3-2 Chelsea. Dave, what do you reckon?
I agree with you, Dan. I don't know about Villa. They're just having a little bit of a sticky patch. There's a lot of quality at Villa, but there's also a lot of... I'm going to say high scoring. I'm going to say Chelsea 4, Villa 2.
Yeah, I think this will be high scoring. Rich?
2-1 Chelsea.
Okay. Man United, Everton. I think this is a convincing home win for Man United at Old Trafford. I know Everton don't concede many goals, but they certainly don't score many either. I'm going to go 2-0 Man United. Dave?
I think Amarin's first home game, Everton are relatively anemic and bland. I think United win 3-0.
Okay. Rich?
I've got to go 1-0 United. I think it'll be quite scrappy.
Okay. Spurs, Fulham. Never have a clue what to do with Tottenham, if I'm honest with you. And if I'm honest with you, I don't know what to do with Fulham either, actually. I mean, I fancied Fulham and they lost 4-1 at home to Fulham.
Yeah, they annoyed me.
Crazy. I'll let you go with this one first, Rich. What are you saying?
You know, I hope Fulham get bad just because of what they did against Wolves. They really tipped me off. But you know what? Can I be honest with you? Spurs at home just always seem to just fumble the bag. I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham.
I'm going to go with Spurs to drop points here. I'm going to go 2-2. Dave?
Basket cases, the pair of them. I mean, if the Man City Tottenham turn up, it could be anything. If the Ipswich Tottenham turn up, it could be anything. If the Fulham that played against us earlier in the season turn up, it could be honestly. I don't know. 0-0.
I don't even blame you for that, man. No, I don't. You just don't have a clue, do you, what to go for? Now there's Liverpool City. Liverpool City. I think Liverpool are going to win 3-1, but I really hope it's a draw. Rich?
Yeah, I was going to say 3-1 as well, Liverpool.
Dave?
City defensively are really bad at the moment.
So bad.
I think 2-1 Liverpool. I think City will be stung by what's happened, but then again, they should have been stung 3 or 4 times before. And it's, you know, I tell you what, I've been watching a lot of Manchester City fan reactions. Dear old LB, I love him to pieces, but I've been watching these Man City fan reactions, and it's like Manchester City fans are now in the realm that the rest of us occupy most of the time, where there are some not so good days to have to, you know, endure and tolerate. Liverpool win this to me. I think City are at a crossroads. I listened to, who was it I listened to? It might have been Shearer, I think, at the weekend, and I thought he was spot on, where he said, you know, this run feels different. When City have had blips before, and then you bring out the trope that, you know, once we get into January, they're going to run and they'll win every game. I think there's less chance of seeing that this time. And Gundogan seems to have aged to me. De Bruyne doesn't seem to be the force he was. If you like, Gundogan and De Bruyne are kind of mirroring what's happening with Eriksen and Casemiro across the other side. And I just think, I think it's the year where City won't win the title now. I mean, the other night, was it last night? 3-0 up. The final didn't really have to do a lot to get back into the game. And Gvardiol, you know, was probably Feyenoord's best attacker. And he's actually, in many ways, been City's best attacker after Haaland, because the guy can't defend. So he's like, I think Liverpool win this 2-0. And I think Liverpool, there's a bit of me. I don't have any great dislike for either of these clubs. You know, they're two great clubs and they've been dominant and, you know, pillars of the footballing community. But there's a bit of me wants Liverpool to sort of put their foot down on Manchester City and give them a beating, as if to say, no, right, now you have to do something about it. Now you have to change. And there's a bit of me wants Liverpool to school them and teach them a bit of a lesson, to get City. I think City in some ways are burying their head in the sand against the passage of time. and I think it'd be quite good for Liverpool to bring. The only thing is, right, with this one, City's the next opponent after Liverpool is us. So I think we will get it properly in the neck next
And
Wednesday
then us.
night.
Then it's
Oh,
us.
yeah, then you, Rich. I mean, the thing is, Wednesday night is the first one I've got to miss. I'm not able to go to that one on Wednesday night because unfortunately, I've got to go to a family funeral. But I look at that night, and I cannot. I think City will give Forest a good scene to, kind of in the way that Arsenal did last week. But Sunday, I think it's a banker Liverpool win that.
Fair play. I think Liverpool win it as well, if I'm honest with you. And then I think City are out of it. I really do. 11 points is too much as far as I'm concerned. I know it's only December or November, December, but I do think that is mad. I don't see Liverpool dropping 4 games and City winning all of theirs. I just don't see that happening. So we'll see, man. Listen, big ups to every single one of you. Make sure you do me a favor, hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you're also following Eagle-Eyed Football and the Suffolk Crunch as well, and Dave on socials. We will see you tomorrow. There's going to be more content. I'm knackered. I've done 7 shows today, so I need to go and relax. Big up to every single one of you. And Rich, Eagle-Eyed Football, Dave, this channel and every other channel that you're on, and Suffolk Crunch.
I get everywhere, mate.
You do get everywhere, man. Make sure you hit the likes and subscribe on your way out, and we'll see you next time. Big up, people.